Terry Fernio is a country music songwriter and one of the founders of the Country Music Association of Ontario. During the day, he works in the book publishing industry, but country music is his #1 passion.
My interest in songwriting started when I was a teenager playing in my first band. We had two really, really good writers in the band, and we were doing almost all original material when we were 15. That was unheard of. And I realized at that point that songwriting wasn't something mystical or voodoo. It was something that you could learn and really use to express yourself. And it took me 20 years to find my own real voice, but once I found it and found that country music was basically where it belonged, then it felt right. And you've got all the young kids that are into the indie rock stuff, but guess what? 3 Days Grace are down in Nashville right now, writing with Chris Wallen, who's had a #1 hit with Kenny Chesney.
Indeed, songwriting is a big part of country music. 50,000 songwriters currently live in Nashville and are all vying to get an album cut or radio single. And that's because country music can be a profitable business, something some companies are behind on.
Media, sponsorships, retailers, things like that look at it as an antiquated musical form where it's, per capita, it's one of the highest sellers.
I think there is an extremely large country music audience that doesn't realize they're a country music audience. They're hearing Taylor Swift on pop radio stations. They're hearing Johnny Reed on adult contemporary stations. And they are listening to country music, whether they want to admit it or not. An artist like Johnny Reed, who has now broken very big in Canada, he's crossing over into pop and contemporary charts. And he's now starting to get some attention stateside because of how huge he's become here. But he is classified officially as a country artist, but he goes way beyond that. Corb Lund goes way beyond being what you would consider to be a normal country artist.
And the list of Canadian artists who've worked their way up to Nashville goes on and on.
Victoria was nominated for Artist of the Year and Album of the Year at the CCMAs last year. And for an independent artist, that is fantastic. And this is after having a #1 hit in the US with Sarah Evans on Saints and Angels. So she's made it as a writer, and now she's making it as an artist. And she's worked very hard, and it's a long, long, slow process to get to the level she's at. And Derek Bertan is nearing that level as well.
Derek, who comes from Bracebridge, Ontario, is a successful Canadian country musician, as well as a prolific and respected songwriter who has written for many top American country musicians. But country music in Canada is no walk in the park either. Musicians spend long hours on the road to get to shows that are very far apart.
There are vast differences between cities that no other country has to deal with, with possible exception of Australia.
So tough touring here. I mean, we have a limited amount of cities. We have harsh climate. We have all these things. I always say if you can make it in Canada, you can make it anywhere. It's like the New York of the day, right?
In Canada, you basically do a gig, drive 15 hours, set up, do another gig, drive 15 hours, get a bit of sleep, get up, drive another 20 hours to your next gig.
And that's one reason among many that Music City USA, Nashville, Tennessee, will continue to beckon to Canadian country musicians and songwriters, with many choosing to spend part of their time in Canada and the rest in Nashville.
But there are many different ways of looking at it, and there are different levels of success. I have not gone down to Nashville because, well, partially I can't afford to. But the other part is I feel that there's enough work to be done here at home. And there are enough artists to work with and write with and perform with that I don't need to go down to Nashville at this point to further my career, but there will come a time when I will. Please support your country artists, your rock artists, your hip-hop artists, anybody, whatever kind of music you're into. Buy their albums. If you don't want to buy albums, pay for the downloads, get them on iTunes. Go see them at their shows, support the bands.
In a country and a world deeply in need of a moral foundation and voices of hope, country music is a good place to start, and Canada should be proud to be a part of it.
Through another's eyes, they are gonna try to change